So far in this course we've looked at variables and how they are used to store a value. However, if we need to store more than one value, we would need to use what is called an array. Arrays can hold multiple values under a single name, and we can access these values by their position or their index number. So let's go over to our JavaScript folder, and in the JavaScript basics section, duplicate the last folder, and this is going to be number 7 arrays. And then let's open that folder up. And then change the title to arrays. And we can just delete this section. So there's a couple of different ways we can create an array. It starts off in a similar way to variables. We use the var keyword, and then we assign a name to the array. So as an example, I'm going to create an array for users, and then we're going to create a new array, and then the brackets just afterwards. So this creates a new array called users, and we can add different users or different values to this array by using the array name and then the square brackets. So the first position on an array is 0. So we're going to set the first position to be equal to Chris. And then I'm just going to add a couple more. So users and then position 1. And I'm going to call this user Mike. And then users, and then a third one, and we'll insert Paul into there. So now our new array should have 3 different values. So let's just check that's all working with a document write, and then inside the brackets we can put the name of the array, which is users, and let's take a look. Great, so there's our 3 values that we've inserted into the array. And another way we can create an array, and possibly a more popular way, is to use the literal method. So beginning the same way, and instead of using the new keyword, we can put the values straight into the square brackets. So just as before, we can put the first user, and then separate by a comma. We can add the rest of our values. And just like variables, we need to put strings between quotations, but we're okay to put numbers just as they are. And now we can save that, and then refresh, and we'll get the same 3 users that we had before. And as well as displaying the full contents of the array, we can just display individual values from an array, depending on their index position. So Chris is position 0, Mike is 1, and Paul is 2. So if you just go to document write, and then instead of displaying all the users, between the square brackets we can put the index number. So if we wanted to display Mike, that would be 1. And we'll just get 1 value appearing. And if we wanted Paul, we could change that to 2. So when dealing with arrays, we can also use different data types. So as well as strings, we can put in numbers, for example, and that will work exactly the same. So if we just save that and then refresh, we get the number appearing at the end of the array. And one handy thing to know with arrays is we can use the length property to find out how many values is inside the array. And the way to do that is with the .length property. And now this should display the length of the array, so we should get the value of 3. So let's take a look and refresh. There we go, so we get the value of 3. So we'll leave this there, and in the next video we'll take a look at some really powerful and interesting ways to manipulate arrays using array methods.